Basics of the Dreamspace. Survival difficulty, Class 10E, Dead Zone, with the pretext of, this whole survival guide that made me write is basically nothing but speculation. We know the goal. Description. The Dreamspace is a large, seemingly extra-dimensional space, unable to be accessed by ordinary means. Here, most of what you think you know about reality crumbles. Everything is somewhat distorted, be it space, time, or the creatures. This guide is mostly for newly arrived wanderers or those who can access this from outside. It's basically a glorified note of the items, techniques, and what to look out for if you want to survive. Not that complicated. Keep in mind that due to the wacky antics of this place, all of this should be taken with a grain of salt and is subject to change or exception. Things to keep in mind. Stay calm. One of the most important things to do, especially when you first enter, is to stay calm, as if you panic, you can make noise that can potentially attract unwanted attention, so to say. Remain vigilant. While some level of relaxation is of course recommended in order to not go crazy, paying attention to your surroundings is also recommended and is essential to staying not dead, depending on where you've entered, especially if you're newly phased. Being able to detect a possible threat before it sees you can save your life. Be ready for anything. The Dreamspace has been known to do weird and strange things sometimes, both spatially and temporally. So don't worry, if you try to backtrack where you came from and encounter a completely new environment, don't sweat it, you're probably not crazy. Recommended items. Now, as far as items go, most of these should be common sense. This section is more so directed toward those outside who can read this from their anomalous device and still have access to, stores and supermarkets and stuff, as anyone already inside would have already learned, the hard way, that you should hold on to as much as you possibly can until you find a settlement. Items recommended to purchase or otherwise procure before entry are rugged clothes. In here you'll do a lot of walking, so running or hiking shoes may go a long way in terms of comfort. Other clothing options include things that protect you from the cold, creatures, rough terrain, and human weapons. Some kind of coat, hunting clothes, or Kevlar vest would be pretty nice too. Food and water. This is kind of a no-brainer. Depending on where you end up, you may need it long before you find it. Sleeping bag. While sleep is needed far less often here than in base reality, you will still need to sleep. Plus, sleeping can help you to not lose your mind as quickly, and the bag can be used to keep warm or carry items. Weapon. While you won't need to use it much unless you live in the slums of floor 11 or 9, better safe than sorry. An ideal weapon would be somewhere along the lines of a long blade. A machete, kitchen knife, short sword, Zweihander, something like that. While firearms are powerful and would be ideal for a more populated level, since humans are easier to kill than creatures, they're loud. Add to that the fact that most floors are indoors, causing the sound to spread further and possibly cause creatures to swarm, and you can probably see why katanas are more common to open carry than shotguns. Phone. A cellular device is an invaluable source of entertainment and information. All types of devices convert to the N.E.T.G OS upon entry, the informative documents present on the front page. Be sure to check time regularly as well. Medical supplies. This is an essential to survival. There is a high potential to get hurt pretty badly here, and unless you raid a hospital in the city, medical supplies are decently hard to come by. Backpack. Between water, food, and other essentials, you'll probably be lugging around more than your hands can hold. Having a backpack like those used for hiking would make your perilous journeys a bit easier to manage. Flashlight. Many places have really spotty, dim, or simply no lighting at all, so a flashlight helps a lot with navigation. It can also be used as a signaling device if one so desires. Just be careful. A lot of creatures will intentionally seek out light sources in order to find food. All about entry. While I wouldn't recommend entering on purpose, being able to read this document may mean it's already too late, so I might as well give you a few pointers on how to know if you're at risk of entering and how to do it safely. Now, normally the entering itself isn't the problem. The danger lies in where certain methods of entry can send you. For example, I entered after leaving the bathroom in an office my dad worked in. Bring your son to work day, I didn't even notice anything was wrong for a while, aside from the fact that everyone had suddenly disappeared. The environment had seamlessly transitioned to floor 4, which is a generally safe place. While some others phased through the ground instead of simply walking, most people agree that they were sent to floors very similar to the place they had been previously. How to know if you're at risk. I'm not going to pretend I know everything like those N.E.T.G guys. No one really knows for sure what the signs of risk are, and due to the nature of the Dreamspace, we might never truly know. Although, rumors and the people I've spoken to have all stated these symptoms, listed in no particular order. General sense of uneasiness, anxiety, or paranoia, typically starting 3 to 4 weeks prior to entry. Sudden onset acute nostalgia. The urge to wander alone in repetitive, monotonous, liminal environments. One or all devices converting to the N.E.T.G OS for a short time. Visual hallucinations, normally being the space around you taking on an impossible geometry. No one knows if this is psychosis or if it's a real subjective reality distortion. Auditory hallucinations, whether it be knocking on the inside of walls to electrical buzzing where there is none. Weird stuff. Acute psychosis or mania. Every other person looking to disappear for a moment and reappear as if nothing happened. Bodily metabolism slowing down. People say things like bathroom needs, eating, and sleep were gradually needed far less up to the point they entered. How to enter safely. Okay, so you now know what to look out for, what to have, and the basic knowledge of where you'll be taken. Now, as these symptoms get worse, it's super important that you only wander around in these specific places, listed in order of the safety where they lead. An underground road tunnel, a big city, an office, and a suburban area. These places look a lot like the safer floors you can end up on, and people who've entered through any of these have said that most of them at least did go to the lookalikes. In the same but opposite way, there are certain places you should avoid, that being schools, hallways and hospitals, anywhere oppressively dark, and power plants. While no one has said they entered through these places, that in and of itself is enough to convince me that there's a very low survival rate for those who did. Remember that it is most likely that you will end up in floor 0 regardless of where you go through, but entering through these places has a pretty good possibility of sending you to the places that look like them. You can never really be too safe. What to do now? Once you're in, assess where you've landed and look up any keyword you can think of for it in a search bar on the N.E.T.G device. Shouldn't be too hard to find the floor you're on, as most of the documents have pictures for those who have no imagination. Going from floor to floor is normally easy, but just keep in mind that on your first trip to any floor, most exits that lead to floors not +1 or -1 of the current floor number will be blocked off. Knowledge is power, and may you be lucky enough to be found by friendly people. May whatever you believe in do you well. This has been Basics of the Dreamspace. Written by me. Narrated by also me. Original idea from the Dreamspace originates from the Backrooms. Thanks for listening.